Coming up, there's an app for that, an IFR clearance that is.
Flying the everyman's jet, and how to grease a landing.
And the craziest stunt yet. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
The dream is real, a truly affordable personal jet aircraft. The Subsonics kit is priced at only $42,000. Kit plus engine is still under $100K. Add instruments, upholstery, and paint and you're flying at SonicsAircraft.com.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haynes and Melissa Rudinger.
There's an app for that. Have you ever struggled to get an IFR clearance at a non-towered airport and thought, there's got to be a better way? Well, there may be one soon.
Well, that's right, Melissa. Hello, everyone. I'm Warren Morningstar. I'm sitting in for Tom Haynes this week. And yeah, I was sitting at the end of a runway just the other day talking to the controller on my cell phone, trying to hear him to get my IFR released. But there's something much better on the horizon. This is a prototype app under development by the MITRE Corporation. Now, it's something AOPA has been supporting for quite a while.
There's been a number of recommendations made, including by RTCA, with Datacom coming online and the ability to do basically text messaging with aircraft control. General Aviation wants to participate, and we see a lot of value specifically in clearance delivery.
Simple enough to use. Enter your call sign, departure airport, and arrival airport. Hit the request departure clearance.
Yeah, it would save a lot of workload for pilots and for air traffic controllers, and specifically the readback and hearback issues that frequently cause some confusion and even losses of separation that we're hoping to reduce with this technology.
The controller can see your position on the airport and see that you've received and confirmed your clearance. And when you're ready to go, use the app to request your release. And when you land, you can cancel your IFR plan through the app as well. And well, Melissa, this is just something really exciting. For me as an IFR pilot, I have been at so many smaller airports trying to figure out how the heck to get my clearance or how to get my release. This is really exciting. And it's something you've been involved in, too.
We've been pushing for this. I saw the demo of the app about a year ago, and without AOPA pushing it, MITRE is a research organization, and they do a lot of good research, but like many things, it's like a lot of research, it doesn't go anywhere unless you push for the specific thing that you want. So we've been pushing hard and getting some traction on this. We call it kind of the poor man's Datacom. It's going to be a boon, and who knows what else we can do with these apps in terms of moving more towards Datacom and away from voice radio for general aviation at a low price point.
Yeah, and it's really exciting. I mean, because your phone knows exactly where you are, it's transmitting that back to ATC, so ATC can actually see where your airplane is on the airport without radar.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. Yeah, Rune, when we Skyped with him, he was down at FAA. One of the things I think he was trying to push through was working specifically on this.
Yes, he was.
So excited to see it happening.
We'll keep pushing. And of all the skills used in the act of flying, perhaps none is more satisfying than the perfectly greased landing, and also nothing more elusive. But the AOPA Air Safety Institute has just released a new video that may help you make a greaser much more common.
Here's what to do. Fly the airplane down to just above the runway, bring the nose up to level, and hold it there until the airplane starts to sink. And then slowly apply back pressure until the airplane's main gear touches down gently on the runway. And there you have it.
You can find this safety tip video on our website under Training and Safety, Online Learning, Safety Videos, or on the Air Safety Institute YouTube channel.
Well, it's not very often that you get to see a real-life emergency procedure executed perfectly. But you couldn't do it any better than this gear-up landing at St. Mary's County Regional Airport south of Washington, D.C. this week. The pilot of the twin Comanche circled for about 90 minutes to burn off fuel, flew a perfect approach, and landed right on the center line. And you see it coming up right here. He's going to shut down the engines just as soon as the landing is assured. Picture perfect, little damage to the aircraft. You know, that really was the best executed emergency landing I've seen.
As you said, picture perfect. And when I looked at it online, and the way he gets out of the airplane, kind of with his hands in his pockets and walks away, like, gonna go get a cup of coffee now.
Well, you know, for the general public and the news media, they always go, "Oh my gosh, a gear-up landing," which, when it's done properly, is not that big a deal, right, and doesn't really hurt the airplane that much either.
It's a good one. A couple of new airplanes to tell you about now. Cub Crafters is introducing two new versions, the EX3 and the FX3. New wings and fuselage allow higher speeds and gross weight. There's a Trailblazer composite, constant speed prop from Hartzell, and a new fuel-injected power plant. The EX is a kit, the FX is a factory assist build.
Well, and you might call this one Son of Twin Otter. This week, Textron Cessna announced a new twin turboprop, the Cessna Sky Courier 408. FedEx is the launch customer with an order for 50 of the cargo version and another 50 as an option. They'll also build a 19-seat passenger version. It will cruise at 200 knots with a 900 nautical mile range. Cessna says the 408 will be flying in 2020.
Let's step it up yet another notch. Flying a jet seems out of reach for many pilots from a skill and cost perspective. Cirrus is working to make it easier. AOPA Editor-at-Large Dave Hirschman flew the Cirrus Vision Jet to see just how easy it is to fly.
This is what your first flight in the left seat of a jet could look like. For general aviation pilots like me, whose frame of reference is single-engine piston airplanes, there's now a jet made with us in mind. The Cirrus SF-50 Vision Jet was designed for pilots coming directly from piston SR-22s. The airplane's handling qualities, approach speeds, cockpit layout, and avionics are nearly identical. And the most surprising takeaway is that the Vision Jet is simpler and less demanding to fly than an SR-22.
It's like you can fly it like a piston. You can land it like a piston. We will be doing 80 some knots on short final, maybe 80.
I came along with Cirrus Executive Sales Director Bonnie Caldera on a couple of recent cross-country flights, and it doesn't take long to start feeling right at home in the cockpit. Starting the engine is totally automated.
Push and release. That's it. Very good. All right. Does everything for you. You don't really have to. You're just monitoring it. The FADEC does its job.
There are fewer engine temperatures and pressures to monitor. There's no torque or P-factor rolling or pulling the airplane. And the Vision Jet's trailing link landing gear is much more forgiving than the fixed gear on the SR series. There's a lot to learn about this new airplane and the high altitude environment in which it operates. And since it's a jet, it requires a typewriting. There's no getting around the $2 million price tag or the jet's much higher operating costs. But from a stick and rudder flying standpoint, the Vision Jet is well within the reach of instrument current pilots accustomed to high-performance piston aircraft. Those fortunate enough to find their way into the cockpit of the Vision Jet are going to have an absolute blast. Dave Hirschman, AOPA Live.
Well, you know, Melissa, I haven't had a chance to fly one of those yet, but it looks like a lot of fun. But I can tell you, it is a wonderful airplane for the passengers. There's lots of room in the back.
It's a beautiful airplane, so I look forward to seeing them out at the air show this year.
There'll be more of them. They're building them. And when we come back, what to do when your air show is rained out.
And the most insane aeronautical stunt yet. AOPA Live this week continues in a moment.
There are many important things to consider before purchasing an aircraft. Let the experts at Aerospace Reports help guide you through the process. We combine expert knowledge with our long-standing commitment to personalized customer service to perfect your transaction. Learn more at aerospacereports.com.
Welcome back. Well, stop me if you've heard this one before. The federal government, including the FAA, might shut down next Friday if Congress doesn't agree on a budget.
Yeah, but I thought FAA was good through March.
Well, yes and no. And now we get into the convoluted world of Washington and the difference between authorization and appropriation. The FAA is authorized through March, which means they have the authority to spend money, but it hasn't been appropriated. So unless Congress passes a budget or a continuing resolution by next Friday, everything shuts down except for the safety critical parts of FAA.
Yes, it seems like it happens time and again, but that's because appropriations are never permanent. So they always have to be redone, usually a yearly, but like you said, sometimes a continuing, a shorter period of time. But regardless, the FAA reauthorization is the bill we're worried about for the privatization issue that's in that. And that still potentially on the table, and we still need to be calling our Congress folks and telling them to say no to privatization.
Yep, that bill is still there. Chairman Schuster is still trying to get the votes he needs from his colleagues, so it's still very much a threat.
Well, we're gonna keep working them. Santa Monica Airport will close next month, but only for 10 days. That's so the city can do more work to shorten the runway from 5,000 to 3,500 feet. And they've told people based there that if their aircraft needs a longer runway, they'd better get out before December 13th. There had been a temporary restraining order blocking deconstruction, but a federal court lifted it and the city bulldozed ahead. The FAA struck a deal that allows the city to completely close Santa Monica Airport in 2028. Numerous organizations, including AOPA, continue to fight to reverse that deal. 'Tis the season of giving, and AOPA is giving away some high-tech gear as part of our Ultimate Holiday Aviation Wishlist contest. For a chance to win, go to the URL listed below and let us know which aviation gifts would be first on your holiday list. It's all part of the gear guide in the December issue of AOPA Pilot magazine.
And as we push on through the holiday season, another season is already upon us, winter weather season. The days are shorter and the sky is more temperamental at times, but AOPA's Air Safety Institute is looking out for you. Executive Director Richard McSpadden has a few tips on flying in the cold. He says engine preheaters and battery tenders can keep your airplane happy in the winter. And it might be a good idea to make sure you've got the right weight of oil in the engine. But you also want to check your cabin heat system.
A lot of the heating systems use a shroud around a muffler, and so you'll want to make sure that you inspect that muffler if you can, get the shroud off, there's no leaks. And then also the carbon monoxide detector inside your cockpit is important this time of year. So you'll be using the heater and you probably haven't used it in a while, and make sure you don't have any kind of poisoning that leaks in the aircraft.
And you also want to make sure you've got warm clothes, not only so you'll actually spend more time on the pre-flight, making sure you've covered everything, but also in case you have to make an off-airport landing, so be sure to dress for the conditions that are out there on the ground.
Especially this time of year, we know that the weather is what you find. The best forecast planning and all your hopes for blue skies can all be gone in an instant if winter's gloomy gray sets in. But AOPA Lives' Paul Harrop shows us it doesn't have to ruin your day.
By all accounts, the Fairview, Oklahoma Fly-In and Air Show is one of the great ones.
Everybody here is having a good time.
The community is out at the airport supporting the little GA field and delighted to be there.
It's a really great event that they put on here. They bring out some great performers.
Except this year, there isn't any flying. Old Mother Nature decided to spit cold rain from low clouds.
This fly-in is in its 66th year, so you don't think a little bit of, okay, maybe a lot of bit of IFR is going to keep them from having a good time, do you?
That just wouldn't be Okie-like.
Not a lot of flying going on today.
But that's okay. This community still showed up to support their airport.
Well, it's a little disappointing because the weather's just not good enough to fly right now. But the neat thing is we're meeting a lot more people here one-on-one. People can come and see the airplane up close, which, you know, we can make that a little bit better of a day for them in that respect.
Airshow pilot Kate Kyer usually flies the heck out of this Pitts, but today she's sharing the gift of gab, able to inspire the next generation of pilots with promises that not all days are rainy.
It's really awesome. I really enjoy that. That's one of the huge reasons I do these air shows, is just to see someone else that has done it. You can say, hey, you know what? They did it, so can I. And that's what I want them to know.
And for air show organizer Teresa Bergier, that's the whole point.
We want to, you know, help instill some people's interest in aviation.
So even though the bleachers and the transient parking are, well, empty, cold, and wet, doesn't mean that you can't have a good event, just maybe inside. In Fairview, Oklahoma, Paul Harrop, AOPA Live.
And it looks like you really should have packed a raincoat.
Yeah, it does, but the show must go on. But hey, sometimes hangar flying is the best kind of flying.
Absolutely.
And finally, this. High in the Swiss Alps, wingsuit flyers Vincent Raffet and Frédéric Fougon prepare to jump off the Jungfrau summit.
Attention, attention, go!
Meanwhile, a Pilatus Porter is flying towards a point at a rendezvous point, and what happens next is insane.
Go for entry, go for entry. Okay.
Yep, there they are. They're chasing the Porter, and look at that dive angle. God. Okay, here comes the best part.
Yeah!
Wasn't that crazy?
I'd be screaming too, but for a different reason. That is insane.
Well, you know, those Red Bull people, they're always doing something extreme.
Always raising the bar.
And that will do it for us this week. I think I'm going to go fly something safe and sane and stay in the pilot's seat, not try to jump into it. Hope to see you back here again next Thursday.
Meet the pilots who fly with AOPA Insurance. They love flying and saving money, just like you. At AOPA Insurance, we understand how you fly and provide the coverage you need to keep on flying. Call for a free quote and see which AOPA insurance plan is right for you.